All right, welcome back to the Persian and the Cowboy podcast. As always, he's the Persian, I'm the Cowboy. And today we're going to be talking about modern relationships. This is a subject that I know a lot of people complain about. A lot of people out there struggling with it right now. So we're going to break it down for you. We have our own solutions of what we think the issues are, and we're here to talk about and have that conversation. So
let's do it.
Mr. Persian, you're a married man. You've been dating your wife since, 2009?
I've been dating my wife since 2008, January of 2008. Lovely woman. Wouldn't be here without her. Great lady.
Holy crap. That's a long time.
That's a long time, man. I've been out of the dating pool for a long time.
What does it look like from an outside perspective, looking in, like
in terms of my relationship with the wife?
Well, I'm just saying what the modern dating scene looks like.
It's a fucking mess, man. Let me be honest with you. I hear people's stories. I hear friends' stories. I hear acquaintances about what it's like. I mean, nowadays, people are having trouble meeting one another. I mean, you got a bunch of these apps now that can help you define who you want, male or female, or male or female and female.
Well, we all know how you like it. So
yeah, so there you go.
You've been enjoying it, yeah.
But the thing is, like, it's just so hard nowadays. People are very particular about what they want. They don't want to go meet someone and shoot the shit with them and figure out everything. They want to exactly know who they're talking to and exactly know what they want, instead of getting to know somebody and trying to test the waters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a lot of information you can gather about people before you even meet them now, which is a crazy thing to think about, and just a lot to overcome in that process too. It's like when we were kids, 2008, we had like Facebook stalking was a thing. For
Facebook
the first
was
time
big.
Ever.
MySpace was still around. It was dying.
You still got your MySpace?
Not anymore. But MySpace was dying back then, and Facebook was taking off.
Yeah.
I mean, and people were stalking each other on Facebook and trying to message one another and see, hey, I like your picture. Do you want to go meet?
Yeah.
Like, that is crazy.
It was a wild, wild west back then, and I think it's even gotten more so of that. Hey, cat.
Jesus, dude.
He's a good little kitty, man. He's just cruising on
great,
through here.
dude. We love pets on this show, everybody.
Yeah.
We love pets.
Yeah.
Nobody loves cats more than me.
No, yeah. We're not going to turn this guy into soup anytime soon.
Yeah,
so.
No, he's a great guy. We love Franklin.
He's a good cat. But, yeah, so I think that's one of the things that's changed since 2008, since, you got off the dating market. Sorry, ladies, he's taken, so,
Taken, I have no clause in my contract. I'm in it for the long term and in eternity, so I love my wife.
Absolutely. So, I mean, some of the things that I've noticed about it, though, so dating apps have definitely taken off, right? And then the other thing is the technology changes that have also come through, right?
Yeah.
You have access to someone 24/7 now. It's not like you can just...
It's weird.
Yeah, I know. See, you and I trying to hang out right now, people are still texting us and whatnot, and they assume that you have access to the person that you're trying to date 24/7 and get that constant attention.
Right.
Which is a change in the last 10, 15 years for sure. Hookup culture is prevalent now. Ghosting's a huge thing.
Oh, yeah.
People just go MIA. You never see them again. Never.
Well, people want to get the
them.
job done. Nowadays, you hear about stories from males or females. They meet somebody a couple times, they have sex with them, and then that's it. They got the job done, mission accomplished, like George Bush on the aircraft carrier. It's done.
Yeah,
they have no interest in meeting this person again.
Yeah, just
and people get hurt like that. People's confidence gets low. People get hurt, and then they shy away from this, and then they come back at it again, and the same thing happens. It's become like a capitalist society in the dating pool. Like, there used to be a time where there used to be respect, but from what I hear on the street, the respect is out the window, and now it's become apocalyptic.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge game of cat and mouse out there, and getting ghosted is the weirdest thing ever.
It's a chess game.
Well, a lot of times you don't even know what happened. You don't know where they went, why they left.
Well, you won't get an explanation.
Yeah, you don't get anything. But the best thing to do is just to move on and get out of there. Another huge thing that's coming up a lot is this catfishing thing.
Oh, that's pretty bad. Remember that show on MTV, dude?
Yeah.
That was good. That was a good show. It was a little emotional, but it was a nice show.
It freaked me out a little too much. I feel like you'd be one of those guys that would start catfishing people.
Fuck no, I would never do that. Let me tell you, dude. The legal ramifications are not worth it. Just show who you are. Don't share. I'm not gonna hit up somebody and be like, "Hey, look at me. I look like Fabio, but I'm not really Fabio. I'm fucking me." I'm the Persian, dude. I'm gonna show them where they don't like what I have to offer. They can go fuck themselves.
You weren't dating Manti Te'o, is what you're saying?
No, I'm not gonna date Manti Te'o, dude. Shout out Manti Te'o. Where is that guy, dude?
I don't know. I don't think he's in the league anymore.
He is not in the league, that's for sure. They don't like him in the locker room, dude. From what went down,
Really?
It was a weird situation. But yeah, I mean, you just look at the culture of the whole dating situation, all these different apps. God knows who you're gonna meet on the other. It's like you're taking a gamble. You know, you do your research on who it is, but is it really that person? You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know who it is. It could be somebody who looks completely different, and also on a safety style, on a safety wise, like you go to somebody's crib, you go meet them, that might not be the person, man. You could be meeting a fucking serial killer. You could be meeting somebody who's going to do harm to you.
Yeah, that's the
You heard about the stories, dude.
Oh, that's a terrifying thing about the dating apps is just you don't know who this person is, and you're trying to boil it down to 5 photos and a few sentences about each other. It's a crazy situation.
You don't know if you're going to date the next fucking Charles Manson, dude. You don't know if you're going to meet the next Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, even if it's not straight up catfishing, it could just be these are the 5 best photos of this person that has ever been seen ever, right? And so it's like, how old are these photos? How did you do during COVID? Did you put on weight? Did you lose weight? Did something go that way? So I've seen a lot of, my online dates have gone left and right for those directions.
Let's be honest, dude. No one ever looks the same. Things happen in people's lives. Emotional stuff happens. Work-related stuff happens. The stress happens. So there's a lot of different problems, and people are never going to be the same, but it would be nice, let's say, if somebody is truthfully that person in the photo, to be that person.
Yeah.
Not somebody completely different that's just like, because it's the trust issue. Becomes a trust issue.
Well, and that's the tricky thing.
That's the whole thing.
Because you're trying to put your best foot out there and, like, make the, good first impression. But at the same time, you need an accurate representation of who you really are. So that's a tricky balance that people are trying to play back and forth with it. So I understand the frustration there. And, like, and then the last thing that I wanted to say, too, is, like, I think there's a lot of people now that are just getting burnt out by this whole thing. The whole rat race, the hookup culture, the chasing around, the trying to optimize your dating profile, it's just too much for people, and they give up. And they just say, okay, I'm not going to date anymore. I'm done with this. And
people go into hibernation. They stop for several months to a year, and then they get back at it. I mean, I have a friend who was in this situation, and he was striking out. He was meeting decent people, but it just wasn't working out, and he gave up, and he's back at it. But again, he's taking a break, and it's a person that he's trying to meet people, but it's not happening. And
do I know this person?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. But yeah, it's just it just goes back and forth. It's a cycle, and I told him, dude, you just need to give people a chance and meet them. Don't meet them once or twice. You have to maybe meet them a few times to understand who they are, what their values are, what are they looking for, and just don't go have dinner with them. Why don't you go on a kayak ride, or why don't you go on a hike with them, or why don't you go, axe throwing, or why don't you go to the fucking Dave and Buster's or something? Make it fun. You know what I mean?
Dave and Buster's is the key to a man's heart, right there, right?
There you go. You got great wings over there. You got great wings.
Yeah, and so some of our users also put in, or not users, some of our followers also put in some of their personal complaints through the Instagram app as well.
Let's hear the complaints, because I saw one and I wanted to be repeated.
Yeah, you and your ideas right there. But so the first one that came in was the fact there's no labels. It's what are we? Are we official? Are we seeing each other? Are we talking? Like, what's going on with it? And everyone tries to stay in this little, like, unnecessary.
They confuse the situation.
Yeah, exactly. I think the term for it is like a situationship is what they're talking about now, where we're in a relationship, but we're not really in a relationship, so we're kind of seeing each other back and forth, and that's a tough situation to be in, because you don't want to play your cards too soon and then kind of freak them out and scare them off.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you don't do that, then you're never going to know. So I don't know.
Well, here's the deal. I think nowadays everybody's trying to get in the saddle quickly, especially if you're older now too, because the clock is ticking. People want to meet somebody and they want to settle down. But let me be honest with you. You have to do what's good for you, number one. And number two, it's never too late, okay? Life is short, but it's never too late. Don't rush things if you don't have to rush things out there, okay? And the other thing is this, like with the labels, like people make it so confusing. If you're talking to somebody and you've gone on several dates and you both like each other and you're both making a commitment to continue this, then in my opinion, and if there's been intimacy and a sexual relationship, then in my opinion, then yes. If it's prolonged, then yes, you are in a type of relationship with this person and you should give it a go. Vice versa. It should be both ways.
Yeah, I'm at the point of just if you like someone, throw your cards out there, put them on the
Yeah,
table,
put 'em
see
on
where
the
they stand.
table.
You know, you never know what they're going to be thinking going from there, and especially if like you're trying to make it into a relationship, don't try to manipulate them into it by pretending to be all cool about like not getting into a commitment or something like that.
You know, and that's
as well.
the thing. Everybody tries to play it off cool nowadays. Well, hey, I don't know. I just want to basically hook up with you, or I want to do this, or I want to. A lot of people, dude, all they're looking for is just a hookup, and that's fine. Just say, I'm looking for a hookup. I'm not looking for anything, no strings attached. I don't want to look for any kind of relationship here. I'm just looking for something, to hook up every once in a while. That's it. My job is too stressful. Let's hook up.
That was your game plan before the marriage, right?
No, absolutely not. I had no game plan. I didn't know what the fuck was happening tomorrow.
You're just the lucky guy that met his wife when he was 19 years old.
I am very lucky, and I wouldn't change anything for the world. I love my wife to death, and I got very lucky at a time where I was trying to understand who I was and what I was going to do with my future. Being 18, 19, that's a tough age. You're trying to figure out, you're going from a teenager to being a young adult. You're in college. You're trying to figure shit out. But again, like, for the future, though, you look at the future generation of these kids. I mean, everybody's literally on a fucking electronic device. They have no way of communicating. They're socially awkward. They don't know how to talk to one another. Like, so what are people going to do? Are they going to start dating flembots? They're going to start fucking flembots? They're going to start having relationships with robots? I don't understand this.
Yeah,
like, it's getting pretty bad. They're here, but what I'm saying is, like, instead of having a relationship, they're gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna hit up this service. I'm gonna have like a nice, busty robot come to my house. Looks exactly like a human being, but I'm just gonna have a relationship with this robot.
Yeah.
Like, I look at the younger generation. These kids can't even talk. They can't even introduce themselves. They can't even have a cordial conversation for more than fucking like 5 minutes. They're just always looking at their phones and looking at Twitter, looking at X and looking at Facebook. Like, I don't even know what's going to happen, dude. The future of the world is looking grim because of technology. You look at artificial intelligence. You look at these companies like Apple. They've shoved these phones in everybody's faces, and everybody's become a fucking zombie.
Yeah, it's rough, dude.
It's weird.
It's weird. So the next one that one of the followers submitted was walking the line of trying to be gentlemanly without being called a toxic male. It's an interesting one right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Well, and so I thought about that one a lot. And I think you got to look at the root word there, gentleman. And I've always thought that was kind of an interesting term. Why do we got to throw gentle in there with man? It's almost as if being a man implies that you are by nature not necessarily gentle. As if gentle is the attribute that you have to learn on your own to become a gentleman. And it's something that we must attain from right there. So we are this fierce animal that is not gentle, that is violent, that is just uber aggressive, trying to provide and trying to get as much as he can in life. But then you've learned to be gentle in itself right there.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole chivalrous arc that the knight had, where the knight in shining armor is going out there and fighting for people and being fierce when he needs to be fierce, but completely gentle when he needs to be gentle at that point as well. And so it's a weird thing that we do in society now where we remind everyone, gentlemen. We always say that in a crowd. We always say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. And so I think going back to the question of like walking the line between being a gentleman and not being a toxic male, I think a true gentleman would know the difference between raw aggression and being fierce and fighting off your enemies,
right,
and when to calm down and to be gentle and soft and that chivalrous person, you know, give the flower to the damsel in distress at that point in time.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what we really need to do. And if you're a true gentleman, you wouldn't care that you're being accused of being a toxic male because you're so confident in yourself and the way that you carry yourself that it doesn't matter what the other person thinks, that you can hold your head high and know that you did the right thing in that situation. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think for me, obviously one of my values, and we talked about on this show before, my religious belief and my value is that I want to always be a good person, the best person that I can be. Obviously, there's going to be days where I'm in a rut. There's days that I'm in a good mood. It's human nature. But the whole gentleman concept, like for me, is like, obviously being polite, having good values, pulling out the chair for somebody to sit, especially an older person, older female or female, opening up the door, for the female. You pick somebody up on a date, you open the door for them. That's a gentleman type thing. That's with class. And I do agree with that. I like those kind of things. And you would do that as well. But I think that nowadays the gentleman concept has become so like you have to do this, do that, do this, do that. But women are very equal to men. We're equal to them. There are women you have women CEOs, you have women in politics, high ranking, you have women VP now, you have women CEOs, founders, scientists, physicists. I mean, I'm still going to pull out a chair for a female because that's the way I was raised, and open a door for a female and conversate and show respect because that's the way me and the cowboy were raised. But I think that the younger generation, and again, we're only in our mid-30s, folks. Like, there's a lot of people, like the younger generation, who don't do these kind of things.
Is it mid-30s already? Holy crap.
Yeah, I know. We're getting old.
Jeez.
Might not be here in 30 years, dude. But, I think the younger generation has a lot to learn, especially with that concept, because I see this out in the public, shopping or in public places. I see the way they treat women. It's horrible what's happening. And the young girls, they're okay with it. So I think we got to get back to basics. We have to get back to the founding principles, and we have to start implementing this again.
Yeah.
Because things are getting out of control.
Yeah, we need to protect those that need the protection and care for those that can't care for themselves. As
the man, yeah, like I'm old school, man. I'll pay for the check on a date. I will, and to this day, like, obviously when you get married, some things change financially. You split things in different categories. But yeah, I'll pay for dinners. I'll do this, do that. Spoil, the wife from time to time. At
a point though, it's becomes when you get married,
it's different.
Your money becomes your money, right?
It becomes you're one unit. You're one unit.
Exactly.
You're one unit. It's not. Hey, this is my. You're one unit, and you have to start. Obviously, you can also have your own money too, but really, you're one unit. If somebody gets sick and is unemployed, it's your turn to step up and help the family.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So a lot of people have different definitions about it, but it's something that you're one unit.
Yeah.
Those days of dating and
the Bible says, you become one flesh. You become one entity.
You become one entity. You're one unit. You're one army.
Exactly.
You're one army, baby.
So then the next follower concern was your favorite one, dick pics.
Dick pics. Well, let me tell you something about dick pics. I actually had the unfortunate pleasure. Somebody accidentally sent me a picture of their penis. It was a number that I do not know.
I keep telling you sorry about that.
I don't know if it was his penis. Believe me, I've never seen his penis. I don't plan to see his penis, but at the end of the day, there was a penis that was sent to my phone, and I was upfront with my wife about it because, if she stumbles upon my phone, she might see it. And I told her, hey, listen, there was a penis on my phone. Somebody had sent it to me. I don't know if it was a joke, but it was a number that I don't recognize. And, I'm a heterosexual. I'm not homosexual. No problem with the homosexual community. But it was a very strange thing, and I told her, and then I deleted it. And it was weird. I think it was a spam or something, but that was my only time that I have, had experience with a dick pic. And now my own personal business, I'm not going to share on the podcast, obviously, but dick pics are a thing now. Dick pics are a thing. I'm sure in the 80s, 70s, and 60s, 50s, if the phone was there, if the cell phone was there, if the iPhone was there, people would be taking pictures of their dick. And
could you imagine faxing something like that?
I'm sure they faxed pictures of their penis. I'm sure of that 110%. 110%.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, dick pics, what are you going to do? Like, dick pics are there. People are going to send pictures of their penis and vice versa. They're going to send pictures of their, women are going to send pictures of their breasts and their body, whatever. If they're intimate with somebody and they have that kind of fetish, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Whatever makes you happy makes you happy. Just at least keep it away from children and keep it away from the workplace.
Yeah, let's not send dick pics, people. How about that? Just
and nowadays with all the hacking and shit, do you really want your penis out there in the cloud?
Yeah, once it's out there, it's out there.
I mean, if it's a good size, good for you. Amen. God bless America. You should not probably be working in the tech sector. You should be in the porn industry. But that's a whole nother topic.
It's kind of similar, but yeah.
Hey, let's go.
All right. So then, other issues that we have with modern dating too, I think, is this whole fairy tale narrative that Disney Channel and Disney presented to us as kids growing up. Like that whole, there's a knight in shining armor that's going to come in and swoop the damsel off,
Bullshit.
carry her off on the horse and everything like that too. So we all have this idea of this romanticized love that's going to happen, that's going to defy all odds, and this knight in shining armor is going to come through and save the damsel and kill the dragon and go from there. But it's all fictitious. It's not practical. It's not a realistic thing. They don't know anything about each other other than this guy could fight a dragon, basically.
I think that, every relationship, it doesn't matter, being married or being in a long-term relationship or domestic partnership has its ups and downs, peaks and valleys. Mm-hmm. It's, being in a marriage, it's up and down. If people tell you, oh, my marriage is 100% harmonious, it's bullshit. They're fucking hiding shit. A lot of things happen. You go through weeks, maybe a couple months of tough times and many good months of good times. And you don't know what's going on in people's lives. But this whole narrative of everything's hunky-dory, perfect, this knight in shining armor bullshit, Disney type mentality, it's all bullshit. It's all for marketing and commercial purposes. But a relationship and a marriage it's a marathon. It's not a cliche. It's a marathon and not a sprint. You have to be prepared for bad times and be prepared for good times. The good times, everything eventually comes to an end. But the good times, you have to cherish those moments. And when the bad times happen, you got to be prepared. It's like being prepared for war because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going on. Financial hardship, relationship problems, work-related situation, personal health, family problems. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. And I think nowadays people don't know how to handle it and they just throw in the towel immediately. And they say, I'm done or whatever.
Well, everyone has this romanticized vision of what everyone else's life looks like on Instagram. Like, oh man, everyone's so happy on Instagram. Why isn't my life that great,
Instagram and this social media shit honestly has destroyed our culture. It has destroyed. Everybody needs to brag about what they have. Then that person gets upset and wants to do better, and they try to spend excess amount of money to look a certain way, male and female. People try to buy possessions that they can't afford just because they saw it, on social media. Social media, from the get-go, was not a good thing. This is not a good thing, and I hope, and here comes my authoritarian hat, I hope this shit collapses one day. I really do, because life was so much simpler when we didn't have social media. We didn't have the Twitter/X's of the world, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the fucking, threads.
We just ride our bikes to Taco Bell and
Taco Bell, sleep over at a friend's house, go play some poker, go to the beach with friends, do this, do that. I mean, it's like now we know about everybody's lives. Like everybody has to post a photo of their food or their vacation. And you know what? For that person that can't go on that vacation, they can't afford it, and they see that, it affects them mentally. I'm not trying to make a case for someone to do a boo-hoo party, but it's not a good thing.
No, it's
you get
not.
wrapped around, you fester about it, and it fucks with you. It fucks with your mental ability.
We all need to stay in reality, and it's so hard to stay in reality when we live in this virtual world.
Some people are millionaires, billionaires. Some people are thousandaires. Some people don't have anything, and some people have, billions, whatever the fuck. It's just the cards we've been dealt. Some people work 2 jobs. Some people work 1 job. They're able to pay. Some are realtors. Like, in the end, we're all going to die anyways. We're going to leave with nothing.
Yeah, so true.
So what the fuck's the problem?
I know, it's crazy out there. So, a lot of people complain about the modern dating scene, right? And they say, oh, it's so toxic, hookup culture, this, the dating apps, everything's just clusterfuck out there. Everyone's just out there to get their own, and so much sex happening left and right and whatnot. But no one seems to have any concrete idea of what the rule changes should be. There used to be a courting structure, right? I'd go talk to someone's father and say, hey, can I call on your daughter or something like that? And then that'd be the process, right? Everyone complains about modern dating, but no one presents a structure of rules of what modern dating should look like going forward.
Yeah.
I have my best attempt at what those rules should look like.
Let's hear the rules, cowboy. Let's hear the rules.
Number 1, delete the apps. They are toxic. Number 2, define your values. You need to figure out who you are deep down. Become someone worth dating. Number 3, who's to say that you're actually someone that, if you're not getting any dates, why should you get any dates? You know, look at yourself. Become someone worth dating and going from there.
Amen.
Number 4, define the values that you're looking for in someone else. You know, what do you want? If you don't know what you want, you're not going to find what you want. Number 5, meet someone and ask her out. Actually go out into the world, sit down, go
face to face.
Approach a woman with confidence and respect. Present yourself who you are and ask her out on a date. You're going to get rejected. You got to get over it. But also, ladies need to start dropping the handkerchief like they used to. You know, give the man a chance to be a chivalrous guy. Because if we're out at a bar or something like that, I can't approach you if you're surrounded by 10 different dudes already.
Well, I wouldn't even want to approach a woman that's surrounded by 10 dudes. That's a bad sign.
Yeah, it's crazy. So girls, learn to drop the handkerchief. Give us a chance to be a chivalrous man and do something courageous for you right there. So the next rule I have, men pay on the first date. I don't care if it's coffee. I don't care if it's dinner. The man should pay on the first date. He's investing his time.
Absolutely.
And then number 7, women do not sleep with the man on the first date. A bad look. Don't want to go there, man. It's too early for sex at that point in time, right? And then on the flip side of that, men should not be sleeping with a woman on the first date either. Don't go right into that, you know? We should really respect sex a lot more than we are in society right now. All right. And then after, let's say you get to the third date, right? Then fine. You know this person a little bit better now. Go ahead and have sex with them if you so want to, right? You can wait as long as you want, right?
It has to be a consensual situation.
Of course, absolutely. Of course. But if you wait at least till the third date, it's a cliche for the reason, right?
Yeah.
If you're waiting for the third date, it's an obvious cliche that's been around for years. Let's at least go with that and have it, it's been vetted out, right? Then you got to have the talk after that. You need to actually sit down with the person and talk about what you want in the relationship. Is this a committed relationship? Are we going to see each other being together? Was this a one-time thing and that's all you were looking for? And then have the common respect to break up with the person if they're not looking for the same thing that you're looking for at that point in time. Then the next rule I have is date one person at a time. If you've slept with someone, don't be hopping around and sleeping with someone else.
Yeah.
You can't be going back and forth. If you want to sleep with someone else, break up with the person that you're with already.
Yeah, you can't just... You can't be doing that. You can't be hopping around. This ain't hopscotch. You know what I'm saying? You can't be doing from this side to that side. You have to invest your time and do that because you're hurting the other person.
Yeah, exactly. But that's, I think, the golden rule right now that fights with hookup culture. But I'll finish the list really quickly.
Finish
and then
the
we'll
list,
just go
baby. Finish the list.
Yeah, and then we'll go back through and talk through each one of these point by point. But discuss your future and actually what you want. You know, that's something that people miss out on all the time. How often do you want to see your in-laws? That's an important thing to discuss with someone when you're in a serious relationship. What are our finances going to look like? How are we going to split up the domestic roles? Very important things. And then the important thing, though, at this point, you're not married to this person.
Yeah.
If you want out of the relationship, you can get out of the relationship. It can be for as shallow of a reason as you want it to be. I mean, look at yourself to see if that's something you want, but you're not in a committed marriage or anything like that. You can break up at any point in time that you want and then start the process all over again. And if you make it past all those steps, then it's time to get married, you know? So let's go back to the beginning. So delete the dating apps.
Yeah.
Do you have opinions on that thing?
Absolutely. Delete the dating apps because you got the wandering eye. If you're giving your time and attention to somebody and you're dating them, you should not be looking at the apps at the same time to see what's out there because let me tell you, that's A, disrespectful, and B, you're only making your case worse.
Yeah.
And you're becoming addicted by looking at other people.
Yeah, I deleted the dating apps about, I think over 2 months ago now.
Good.
And it's been an interesting process. So I've noticed that my opportunities to interact with women have gone down. But when I do interact with women, the quality of interaction has gone way up.
Yeah.
I'm meeting women out in the wild.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing to say nowadays.
Yeah. In society, you're going out in the wild, dude. It is the wild.
Yeah, it crazy is. But but when I meet someone that way, I already know who they are a little bit better than I do just on a screen. And so I've already like vetted her out at that level right there. And so it's a much better interaction. I get a better idea of who they are, and then I can proceed further if I want to. So that's been pretty cool about it. But the number of interactions has gone down, which makes sense. You're not swiping through all
And
these
that could be a
things.
good thing because you're investing your time and you're taking this seriously with that person to understand if they're the right person, and and going through the rhythm. Going through the different steps.
So I got some statistics for you.
Bring up the statistics.
All right.
You know I like the numbers.
You love the numbers. Okay, so I'm gonna pose them as questions for you. Okay. So what percentage of dating app users are frustrated with the dating apps?
Oh, I'm gonna go high. I'm gonna go 90%.
That's a little too high. It's only 45%.
Oh wow, okay, 45%.
That's almost half though. Half of the users are frustrated.
Yeah, because
with
they're
the apps.
wasting their time on there.
They really are. Yes,
They're wasting their time. You're only putting money in the pockets of these fucking people with the apps.
Yeah. So, and then what percentage of women are overwhelmed by the number of messages they're receiving on dating apps?
Let's go 60%.
54%.
Wow.
Nice. Very close.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them, right? And then and then what percentage of men are insecure about the lack of messages that they're receiving on dating apps?
75%.
64%.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm close. Yeah, I mean,
You're getting there.
you would be insecure if you're not getting any messages because you have to see your profile, like what's going on. Did I put in the right thing? Is the algorithm carrying me? And that's the wrong thing. You're having technology link you up with people.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just a weird situation, and it's something that we haven't evolved to do at all. Like, we haven't evolved to be able to handle this. It's something that's completely foreign to us. We're not used to meeting people this way. So I got a few more statistics on you right here. So I don't know if I can pose this as a question, but so I'm just gonna say, when you're on a dating app, since you've been married for a long time.
I don't even know what a fucking dating app is.
Exactly. So you can swipe right or left, or
Okay.
you can say yes or no,
Yeah.
right? And then if you say yes and the other person says yes, then you guys match, right?
Right.
So there's three possible outcomes, right?
Okay.
I say no on them, I say yes on them, but they say no on me,
Right.
Or we both say yes, right?
Okay.
So those are the three things that could happen from it. So, 40 for men. 47% of the men will pass on a girl. So I say no. 47% of the time, the man says no.
Right.
And then 52% of the time, the man will like a profile. So, and then the leftover is they'll get they'll like the profile and match with the person only 1% of the time.
Jesus.
It's that crazy, yeah.
Dude, technology, man, I'm telling you.
So from a woman's perspective,
Okay.
so what percentage of time does the average woman on a dating app say no, she does not like the guy?
I'm going to go 55%.
55%, that's a little bit higher than the men that you're guessing.
Yeah.
The woman says no 95% of the time.
Wow. That's pretty high.
Yeah.
What are they looking for like a fucking CEO, tech CEO
Oh,
boyfriend?
yeah, you got to make 100K and be over 6 feet tall. There's no way to get
Especially
a date
in the
online.
Bay
other than
Area,
that.
100K ain't going to do shit now in the Bay Area. You have to make at least 200 easy,
Yeah, we haven't even
250.
talked about dual incomes.
Oh, God.
So then she only likes, so she'll like but not get a match 3.2% of the time. And then she likes and get a match 1.8% of the time. So she almost gets a match twice as often as a guy does from that. It's kind of crazy. So of the men that actually like on a profile, so if let's say I like their profile, I only get a match 2% of the time,
Right.
from all the likes that I have to send out of there.
Right.
So that's so many likes that I already have to send out before I get even a couple matches.
Right.
A girl, of all the people that she likes on the profile, 36% of them come back as a yes. They're down and ready to go. So it just completely distorts the balance of like dating. I don't want to say power. I don't think that's the right word, but just initiative, basically.
Right.
The women are overwhelmed and the men are just in a panic because they're trying to compete with the thousands of other dudes that are also talking to her. So it's just kind of crazy how that's going through. But
Right.
yeah, so I think that's that's why I think delete the dating apps, get out of this world that you're stuck in.
You have to delete it. You got to
Yeah.
delete it because you're gonna have the wandering eye, and plus you're gonna be sucked into the technological world, dude. If you're gonna date somebody, give them the respected time they deserve. Do not do, and if it gets serious, don't even look at the app. Why would you even be looking at the app if you're taking this to the next level,
Well, the other
like
thing,
into
for
a
me,
relationship?
it became like a video game.
Yeah,
where it's
it is a video game.
I know, and they're not designed for you to meet people and get and fall in love or anything like that. They're designed to make
The
money.
more you swipe, the more you're giving the company fucking leverage. You're giving the company more of a boost.
Yeah, exactly. And so then there's another thing that I thought was interesting. So, is I'll just read this one. So, so the marriage rate in the United States in 2021 was 14.9 marriages in the last one. In the last year per 1,000 women. So there have been 14.9 marriages in the last year for 1,000 women that are out there, right? So almost 15 of them got married. So that's down from a decade ago when 16.3 women got married.
Right.
In a year for 1,000.
Right.
So it's a drop in a little bit, right? And so I think that's the case is like we think these apps are out here to make it easier for us to meet people.
Yeah.
But I don't think they are. The marriage rates are going down.
Yeah.
So that means that people are not finding the person that they need to find. And I think it's because the dating apps are toxic. They breed this culture of hookup culture, and they're not actually presenting people for who they actually are so that you can get a good idea of this person. The other thing is everyone sits at home and is just on their phone swiping, trying to find someone and not going out and doing anything. I think the correct way is to go out and do stuff, and then you meet people while you're out doing things.
Right.
But everyone wants to find someone first and then go out and do things.
Yeah,
it's the wrong process.
Should be the other way around.
Absolutely.
Wrong process.
Yeah, it's
what else you got on this list? What's going down?
Well, let's go through.
Let's go through each one.
My
Let's
rules,
go through
yeah.
each
So then
one.
defining your values, I think, is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, you gotta put on the table. You gotta put your cards on the table. And tell them what kind of person you are, what you're looking for, what your plans are, without scaring somebody. Like, oh, I want this. Like, you need to understand like who you're talking to, who you're dating. You know?
Exactly. And so I think that's kind of a thing. And so then it kind of pairs in with become someone that's worth dating too. You know, if you're not getting any matches online or no girls saying yes to a dates that you're asking them out on, you probably got to do some self-reflection. Maybe you got to update your style. Maybe you got to go to the gym and get in shape. Maybe you got to come up with some more interesting opinions on stuff.
Yeah, maybe you have to have more content on your profile.
Don't just regurgitate what you're hearing on some podcast or something like that.
Exactly.
You know?
Don't be copywriting.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And then defining the values that you're looking for. Of course, you need to know what you want in a woman. You want someone that matches your values, I think. Meet someone and ask them out on a date. Yeah. Obviously, we touched on that a little bit.
Well, I mean, as an example, like if someone's going to like a bar or a place like a winery or something, or like an event, and you see somebody, male or female, and you're interested in talking to them, go up to them, introduce yourself, and just, shoot the shit. And if there's interest, get the number, set something up, for a coffee or a glass of wine or a light dinner or lunch or something. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's way better than sitting at home on hoping your dating app's going to help you out with everything.
Yeah, no,
too.
I mean, you got to have a two-prong approach.
If I might ask you, how'd you ask your wife out?
So we met through a mutual friend back in 2005, actually, and we lost contact, but we gained contact again in 2007, and we both kind of hit it off. We met in September of 2007 again at a party, and we both hit it off. We both were talking to each other, and, she thought I was funny, and I thought she was, great and amazing and mature. And a friend of ours played matchmaker and was, kind of selling me, and he was selling her to me. It was kind of this thing where there was an interest, and we both liked each other. And then come November, December, during the holidays, post-Thanksgiving into the college break of early second week of December, we started hanging out more, going out to, friends' houses, going to get lunch, and we really hit it off. And I think come early January of 2008, we actually ended up, kissing on New Year's Eve, and we kind of had this moment and this connection.
Sly dog.
And then we came together the first week of January. I asked her out, and I said, do you want to be my girlfriend? And I asked her out on her birthday, actually. So I had some roses for her and a card because of her birthday, and I was going to take her out anyways for her birthday and have a gift. But I asked her out. She came to my house in between work because she was working close by, and then we just hit it off ever since. And I got very lucky at a good time in my life, and at a good time for her too. That we both met each other, and we knew about each other, but we hadn't rekindled until 2007.
I think that's good though. You got like a long build up in that.
Yeah, we had a long build up, and
you took time to get to know this person. Too.
She's a year and a couple months older than I am, and we have mutual friends. We went to the mutual school in the area, so same ethnicity too, so same values, same cultural values, so that helped as well. So it just, these things also happen by chance. It can happen by luck. It can happen through friends. There's a million different ways you can meet the right person, but an app is just one of those million ways to meet a person. But nowadays these apps are like out of control.
They're too aggressive. There's too many like money filters that you can pay to. You can pay to see who's already liked your profile on certain situations. Like it's pretty crazy, but
it's too much.
I think that's a good process though. Get to know someone and then ask them out. You know,
if you meet somebody,
I've always been in such a hurry up offense. I like meet the girl, take her out on a date. Let's go. But I think now I'm finally calming down and taking things a little bit more at time.
Well, yeah, I mean, just in general, just in general, you got to take the time to know somebody and understand who they are, like, and just have a couple dates, like go to dinner, go to a movie, go bowling, go shoot some pool at a dive bar, go to the beach, go to a nice wine bar or something, man,
Yeah, and so I think that's good. And then, men pay on the first date. I think it's just a nice chivalrous gesture that we can do, right? We're taking out a lady and trying to get to know her. The least we can do is to, pay for her to have a good dinner.
Yeah, I mean,
something like that.
I remember my time. There was a few times where my girlfriend, now wife, paid, but I paid for the majority because as the old school mentality.
I think on the first date, and
first date, yeah.
And then a little bit in,
a couple times in, maybe like the 15th, 16th meal, maybe there could be an opportunity where it may be your birthday or maybe a something happened at work, a little promotion type thing. Maybe they can pay, but usually like I'm more of the old school mentality on this front.
I am as well.
Yeah.
So then I think
we're very similar on this subject matter.
Yeah. Then the next thing I think that might be a little controversial is like, I don't think you should sleep with the guy on the first date. It's just the sex is a complicated situation, and I think you should really take the time to get to know someone before you decide to do that with them. Like it's just it's a sticky thing. But I got more statistics for you on that actually.
Let's bust out the statistics, man.
Right.
Tell me. I like the percentage games. I'm getting close.
So I don't have percentages on this one, but
man.
it's just a general motif that I've seen in some of the surveys that go out there. Because you see like. You've seen that like red pill stuff online where the guys are like, oh yeah, you want an innocent girl, but like don't get in a committed relationship and sleep with as many people as you possibly can before you decide to get married.
Right.
She should have very low body count, and you should have slept with over at least 50 women before you decide to get married. And I'm just like, and they cite these statistics of if the more men a woman has slept with, the less likely she is to have a stable and committed marriage.
Right.
And your divorce rate goes up. The woman's divorce rate goes up the more men that she slept with before she got married.
Right.
The thing that these guys forget to mention is that the same is true for men. The more women that you've slept with before you get married, the more likely divorce becomes. But there's a very interesting little blip in it that I thought was pretty crazy. And so if you've had... obviously, the divorce rate is lowest if you've had 0 sexual partners before you get married. It makes sense. You're probably very religious if that happens. You're obviously very committed about this. You've never had any curiosity poked into or anything like that. If you've had 1 sexual partner before you got married, it goes up a little bit. But then it goes up quite a bit actually at 2 sexual partners, which is interesting.
The divorce rate?
The divorce rate goes up if you've had 2 sexual partners before you get married.
I was thinking it was like 10 and up.
But then it starts dropping down at like 3, 4, 5. And then it kind of gets close to like 1 sexual partner again.
Well, I think
5.
it's probably because, when you get the higher up, maybe it's because they've already been there, done that. They're like,
I don't know if it's like if it's just 2 sexual partners and you're like, that's just enough to pique my curiosity and see what else is out there or something. But I don't know. It's kind of wild. So but then it kind of flattens out at like 5, below what it was at 2.
Right.
And then at around 9, it starts shooting back up, and 10 plus, it gets higher than 2 by a good amount. So the more sexual partners you've had, the more likely you are to get a divorce. So I think that's why we need to be careful about that. And I've thought a lot about this, and I think that it comes down to your ability to differentiate the physical action of sex versus the emotional attachment that should go along with it. And I think the more sexual partners you have, the more divided those 2 things get. You shouldn't be able to be physically vulnerable with someone until you can be as equally emotionally vulnerable with that person.
Right.
Sex is not a handshake. It has to have that emotional aspect to it. Right. And it's an interesting thing too, because the common trope is that men just want sex and women just want to cuddle and talk about their emotions, right? And so it's a funny thing, and like I finally realized it's not that men want sex, it's that the couple is trying to get intimacy, but they just express it in different ways. Men express intimacy in the form of physical actions. Women perform it in emotional and trying to be understood and cared for kind of actions from right there. But the thing is, if you have the emotional vulnerability and the emotional intimacy to be completely yourself around someone and just show them exactly who you are no matter what, that gets the right amount of vulnerability, and the intimacy will just come along with it regardless as a natural byproduct of it. And that includes the physical intimacy as well as the emotional intimacy that comes from it too. So I think that's what people are missing about sex is it's not just a fun game that you play with someone. It's not just a handshake. It's not just a little dance you do with someone in a car behind a parking lot or something like that.
No. It's more complicated than that.
I know, yeah. And then the whole I don't even know if I want to bring up the whole porn world just blowing the roof off of like people's sexual expectations, but good sex is when you have someone that you are completely vulnerable with emotionally, and they're completely vulnerable with you emotionally, and you just have such a deep connection. It has very little to do with actually what is physically going on in the bedroom at that moment in time.
Yeah.
So
well, I think nowadays too, the whole porn world. I mean, especially with the promotion on social media too, but it has complicated the lives of many people. It's become an addiction for a lot of people. And I mean, people do what they want. I mean, it's a free country, but the more porn you watch, the more unsatisfied you're going to become. That's what they say. Like, people are watching some, very interesting things and they want to replicate it, but they can't. So they go back for more content and it messes with their mind. It's almost become this mental situation.
Yeah, and so is it a visual? And that's the divergence that people need to be careful about. Is you are now diverting the pleasure is no longer connected with the emotional connection that you have with your partner. It is becoming more associated with the visual stimulus that you are receiving from something that is not your wife or your girlfriend or your spouse or whatever it might be.
Oh yeah.
And so that's the scary thing too, is just trying to figure out, but the further down that rabbit hole you go, the more emotionally distant you're getting from your partner. And, that's a scary thing as well. So it can become very complicated. Especially with, porn. A lot of people are addicted to porn, man. They watch a lot of porn. Yeah,
and that's okay. I mean, that's their thing. They want to do it. But
if
when it becomes a problem, when it becomes a problem in your relationship, in your marriage, then you're going to start seeing the effects. that can become a problem for many.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think it's very important that people need to regulate their substance.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too is just like people want that emotional acceptance from their partner, and if they don't get the satisfaction and the fulfillment from that partner, then there's what is their other outlet? So this is another thing that I think is going to be a little controversial about marriage and commitment too. It's like if a man has physical and emotional needs, and he's he's married, right, and he's not receiving that from his wife, then what are his other options? He doesn't really have a good way to turn or anywhere to turn to it. He's got porn, which is not healthy. He's not going to cheat on his wife, right?
Yeah, you can't be doing that. That's
so
a whole nother window.
So you're kind of stuck in a weird little limbo of like, I don't know how to recover from this, So it's a tricky conversation that you need to have. Like, I think before you get married is a good time.
Yeah, I think all these things need to be laid out, and especially like when you talk about the whole cheating aspect. If someone's going to cheat, they're going to cheat, unfortunately, and that's a horrible thing because people get hurt, especially if you're married and you have family, children. They're going to be hurt in the process. That's why, like, if you're going to do something like that, don't get married.
And
if you're going to do that, do not get married because.
And that segues really good into my next
it.
rule on the list, which is date one person at a time.
Yeah.
So, it's this Playboy fantasy that's been given to us by the Hugh Hefners of the world and the hippie revolution.
Entertainment, dude, Hollywood.
Yeah, it isn't fulfilling. It's not what you want. It's like
they never end up in a good place, dude.
I've been out there. I've tried to do it. It's not a thing. It leaves you empty and alone. It's not what you want. You want that intimacy. You want that commitment with one person, and to be able to just be completely vulnerable and accepted by them. That's the beautiful thing.
You're not going to end up in a good place because, in the end, when it's all said and done, you're going to be alone.
Yeah.
And then I'm not saying you're going to be alone at 20, 30, or 40, or maybe even 50. But by the time you're in your late 50s, 60s, you're not going to want to be going to the bars. You're not going to want to be going to any clubs. Well, you're a 50-year-old man and trying to get up on 25-year-olds. Like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta be honest with yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge thing. You got to be honest with yourself, know what you want, and then talk about it. And so that's the next rule: is talk about your future together and see if there's a common future that you both have a goal for. If you have a shared vision, then that vision will be able to pull you through a lot. But if you don't have a shared vision, then you're going to be diverted no matter how much you love this person to begin with.
Right.
And so, I mean, you got to talk about everything. Who's going to be doing the cooking mostly? Who's going to be doing the cleaning of the house? Who's going to be making most of the money? Like all these things need to be divided up. Like I came from a family where my father went out and worked and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And, she gave up a very promising career to stay home and raise 3 kids. And it was a noble sacrifice, and I don't think stay-at-home moms are as respected as they should be in today's society. But of course, now we need a dual income just to even live in California. So,
well, I mean, I think a lot of places in the United States, things have gotten so expensive over the last 2 decades, but especially the last 5 years, you have to have dual incomes. If you're a stay-at-home dad or stay-at-home mom, it has to be a very rare occurrence. Maybe you come from a rich family, or your wife is well-to-do, or you're well-to-do, or someone is making a lot of money in their position. But I think at the end of the day, you're going to have to, everybody needs to pull their weight evenly, and there needs to be dual incomes.
Well, of course. I mean, but pull your weight evenly, I think, is a very, very strong case to be made that raising children is a full-time job. And I want to give my wife, my future wife, whoever she may be, the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mother if she decides to or decides not to.
Yeah.
And then if she wants to stay home and raise the children and get them into the best shape and the best condition that they are. I know, well, but I think that is just one of the most noble and most beautiful thing that a woman could do.
It is, but I agree with you there. I mean, raising children, especially the mother, does a lot. It is a full-time job.
Yeah.
But the thing is, nowadays, especially with where we're at in California, it is so difficult to have somebody be stay at home because of the cost of living and the expenses and having, a child or 2 children or 3 children, everything's expensive. I mean, we see it when we get our paychecks and we have to divvy up for our mortgages, for our car payments, for different things. I mean, nothing is left pretty much. Like you got a couple $100 for yourself till the next paycheck because we have very expensive lives. But in the end, it's just nowadays it's you don't see too many stay-at-home moms anymore. It's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Oh, it totally is, and
Yeah.
I agree that like the financial demands are a little overwhelming at this point in time. But I still think, and I want to clarify, I'm not saying that
No, yeah, of course.
this is
of
an
course.
all-woman thing or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think it should be a choice for them. I think it is equally admirable for
yeah.
a woman to go out into the career world and fight out there as it is for a woman to stay home and to raise children. I think those
Yeah.
are two beautiful pathways that a woman can take.
Yeah.
But and they should be equally respected. is
Yeah,
all I'm
absolutely.
saying.
No, absolutely. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. 110%. I'm with you.
Yeah, and so then I think just after talking about the future, if you guys have a similar future and a vision, what are you waiting
And
for?
that's a good thing.
Get married, and start
Yeah.
that next step of life if you're ready for it.
Well,
So-
absolutely. If you're in a finance, because the thing with getting married is this too. Like I was with my girlfriend, now wife, for many years, but I was only 18, 19. I wasn't in a position, at the time to get married. My advice is this to people who are listening, watching. You got to be also you're ready, emotionally and physically. You're ready, but the most important thing is you got to be financially ready to do it, because buying a home or renting a place, furnishing the place, expenses, bills, things like that, it's a very expensive endeavor. It's very expensive, and you have to be ready. You can't just be, let's just do it. You got to be ready financially to tackle this, because it's opening up a whole new door.
Yeah, you've come a long way. You've grown up quite a bit, and so we're all proud of you for that.
we all had to do some growing up, but at the end of the day, it's no joke. You are a unit, and even if you're boyfriend and girlfriend and you're living with each other, you're a unit, because like you're managing a household together, you're paying the bills, you're both working, you have dual incomes. So at the end of the day, it just becomes this thing where you have to work together. You're a unit.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, but I think just to wrap everything up, I think we've kind of talked about the process. At a certain point, like I think people should get married. I think people should get married, have kids. It's one of the most beautiful things that we could do in life, and I'm so happy for you and your beautiful family. Like it's
appreciate it.
excellent to see you guys. I'm really excited to go to the baseball games and everything.
Yeah.
That's going to come along with that.
Absolutely. It is a beautiful thing, and like I said, I think, and nowadays a lot of people don't want to get married, but they want to be in a partnership. I'm for this. If you want to do that, do what you want to do. Who am I to tell you to do what you want to do? But this was my path. I wanted to get married to the person that I love and will always love and love to this day. But, some people don't want to do that, and that's fine. That's their choice. But you have to take the responsibility at hand, like at the helm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it has to happen. So, but just a few final thoughts from me. I want to kind of express my dating process.
Yeah, do it.
I'm still out there fighting the fight. So,
Put it in there, man. Put it in there.
So I want to talk about the things that I've realized throughout my dating career that I was doing wrong, that was preventing me from meeting the right person and going from there. So, the first thing was, I think I was always a very nervous kid when it came to dating. Like in high school, the pretty girl would just petrify me. I don't get starstruck. Like if I meet a celebrity, I'm just like, hey, what's up, bro? Like good to see you.
Fuck the celebrity. Who cares?
Yeah, it's like it's not that exciting to me. But if I saw like a beautiful woman that I thought had potential, petrified, just like terrified, like deer in the headlights. And that was because I had this idea of this perfect woman in my head. And every time I'd get that moment where a girl would make me think, oh, this could be her, this could be the one, then I would just get starstruck and I couldn't even talk to her. And I had to get to the point where I got rid of that woman in my mind and said, you don't exist. And I had a moment of just laying in bed, just being like, hey, I'm sorry, I got to let you go. You've been this imaginary friend of mine for my whole life, but you don't exist. I need to go out and figure out who these women are on their own.
Right.
And that was a profound change. And then the The other thing that I've realized in the last couple weeks is that, once like you've got your heart broken for like the 7th time, you start to realize some things and put them things in perspective. So, like have you ever had your heart like just destroyed?
Yeah, a couple times. For
Okay.
Sure. Oh yeah, it's not a good feeling.
No, and so
It's tough.
the first time you get your heart broken, you think you're dying. It's like a chunk of your flesh has just been ripped out.
It's like you're having a heart attack.
Oh, yeah.
Pre heart attack.
But
Symptoms.
It's crazy. This chunk of you has just been ripped out, and you think you're just laying there bleeding out all over the floor, and you literally think that you're dying. Like that's the panic that comes over people when they have that initial heartbreak.
Right.
They're like, I'm dying. I lost a piece of me. I'm bleeding all over the floor. I need to do something to get me back together. And so what's the easiest way to get themselves back together is to try to go back and get back with that person that they saw leave and stitch themselves back up with them and reconcile the whole situation so that they're together again, right? That's the easiest, quickest fix that they can see because they think they're dying. And I realize a better metaphor for it these days is that heartbreak is more like having a sliver that just got shoved underneath your fingernail.
Oh yeah.
It's extremely painful, but you're not going to die. You're not going to die. You're not going to have your finger amputated or anything like that. You're going to be okay. You are just experiencing one of the most painful things that people can go through. I mean, they use it for torture, for God's sake.
Oh my God.
But the answer is, some people are so convinced that they need to hold on to that person, they leave that sliver underneath their fingernail indefinitely. And all they need to do is pull that sliver out and actually give themselves the time to heal and to respect themselves and know they're going through a recovery time. They're going to feel bad. They're going to be in pain. And so if you just take those steps, give yourself a little bit of respect and some time to heal, you're going to be all right. But you need to pull that sliver out. You need to remove the problem from your life and remove that situation from it. So that was something I realized in the last few weeks. And then the other thing I realized in the last few weeks, we kind of touched on a little bit before, is we were talking about you want to have a shared future with someone. And this is the mistake I've been making my whole life in dating.
Right.
Is I would meet a woman and I'd be like, oh, I'm super excited about her. Let's see if we can make this work. And then my goal became, how do I make her fit into the box of my future that I want to fit her into, right? Like, how do I get it to work with this person? And then I would find all these cartwheels and backwards bending and just like flexibility stuff to try to make them fit into my idea of what my future was supposed to be. And I couldn't imagine it without them. And I always was trying to push them into this area. But the problem is they had a different idea of what our future was supposed to look like. And so when it came push to shove, it didn't matter how much we loved each other.
Yeah.
It mattered what our future was going to look like together. And so eventually the future was born to diverge us. We were going to get split up no matter what, no matter how much we loved each other in that moment. And the profound revelation that I came through in the last couple of weeks is that I should not be pursuing one particular woman, no matter how much I love her, and trying to fit her into my box of what my future is going to look like, or changing my future to match what she wants her future to look like.
Right.
I should, above all else, be pursuing my future. And if I pursue the future that I want in my head, then I can identify a woman and say, hey, do you fit into this? And then if she does and she has a shared future, awesome. But if she doesn't, then it's okay. No hard feelings. On to the next woman, and we can see if we have a shared future from there.
Right.
And then when I do hopefully meet someone that shares the same idea of what the future should look like, then we'll get to a point where the future is the most important thing. Right. And we are trying to build this life, build this future together, and we're always pulling ourselves forward in that direction. And that means that we're able to have the fights that we need to at the time being. We are willing to sacrifice comfort in the present for future success in our relationship.
Right.
Which means we're going to bring up the stuff that we need to talk about. We're going to have the difficult conversations early on and right when they need to happen.
Right.
And we're knowing that we're doing this not to upset the other person, not to piss them off, but only because we care more about the future that we have together than we do about just having fun in this present moment.
Right.
And I think that is just the profound thing that I've realized now, where I can let go of the idea that there's this one out there. I know that someone eventually is going to have the same goals, the same idea of what the future is going to look like, and we're going to be able to build that life together.
Right.
And then the love will be that much better because of that. So,
dude,
that came to me in the last few weeks. Is like, oh man,
amen, baby, amen. Beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Yeah. So no matter how much you love the person, if you have two different futures, it's just never going to work out.
Yeah,
as sad as that is.
But
yeah,
don't waste your time.
But yeah, so
don't waste your time and that person's time either. If they're not aligned with you and it's just not, the stars are not aligning, you shouldn't waste their time and your time. And it's tough because you're in the process, you're hurt. It takes time. But once the hurt is away and once the healing has been done and you're moving on, then things happen. Things happen for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Firm believer of that.
And I'm also wrapping my head around the possibility that it's okay that I don't need to date someone. I don't need to have a wife. I can still live a good life.
Exactly.
And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then I still have a purpose. I still have a mission. I can hang out with my nephews and my niece.
Yeah, you can hang out with your friends. You have a lot of hobbies. You have a lot of travel coming up. You do a lot of things.
Teach your kids how to throw a ball because you can't throw a ball.
I can throw a ball for sure, and I can catch that ball for sure. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, there's many different ways you can keep yourself busy. In many ways, you could still date people, but and not take it to. You just want to test the waters. You want to see what it's like with that one person. You want to see what's going on. You take your time.
I'm going to take it extremely slow from now on.
You should.
And it's going to be, and I have been the last several months. I haven't done, yeah.
I mean, there's no rush right now.
Exactly.
There's no rush.
I want to know who the person is before I move forward with them.
Absolutely. You got to dig deep in that trench, and then you got to see what's going on. If the values align, what type of person that person is. And that takes time. It doesn't happen overnight in 1 month. It takes time. It takes several months, up to a year to see if it is. And, that's just the gamble and the risk you take.
Yeah, and everyone says when you know, so.
That's it.
We'll go from there. But any other thoughts on modern dating, Mr.
That's
Persian?
it, folks, for me on this side. This was a very powerful episode. Well done, Mr. Cowboy.
Thank you, sir. Anyways, he's the Persian, I'm the Cowboy. Cheers, y'all.
Take care, guys.